In the wrestling world, the people are represented by two separate but unequally important groups. The wrestlers and bookers, who literally do all the hard work, and the fans, who endlessly nitpick and overanalyze everything they do. These are their stories.
It's Warhorse, and you need to shut your mouth, open your eyes, and clean out your ears, because it's time to listen to the Raw and Order podcast. That's right, they're bringing you the best in all that meaty podcasty goodness in one, what is it, an hour? Two? Who cares? Who gives a shit? You need to listen to it right now, or else Warhorse is gonna, roll your ass!
Welcome to another episode of Raw and Order, the Wrestling Booking Unit, the only wrestling podcast on the planet to directly follow up the superb owl. I am your host, Detective Mark Smarks, and I'm joined as always by my partner in crime fighting, District Attorney Vincent K. What's going on, man? How are you?
I tell you, and I know that you already know this because for the show, I am doubly excited that SmackDown had the very best commercial, in my opinion. It was, at least in the conversation, it was entertaining. It was enjoyable, and we all know the person who does this thing.
It was way better than Tyrus showing off the NWA World Championship on the Gottlieb commercial. That was horribly unfunny. Anyways, yes, the superb owl was tonight.
Yeah.
The Chiefs of Kansas City walked away with the victory over the Eagles of Philadelphia. If you care about football.
Yeah.
I watched the last half mostly through my eyelids.
And you won. I don't know what that means, but
I saw someone had created a map, and it was like, which team each state is rooting for. And, it was a map, and there were a couple states colored in red. Missouri was red and said Chiefs. And I think New York was also red, said Chiefs. And then Pennsylvania was green and said Eagles. And basically the rest of the country was blue and said, I'm just glad the Cowboys aren't playing.
Amen.
Like, that's right.
Hashtag truth.
Fuck the Cowboys.
I don't think I could, all at the same time.
It would be very painful in the long run.
Yeah. You're telling me I'm the one.
Yeah.
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 See, that was kind of fun watching you play the video game with your friends. And yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, internet friends, right?
That wasn't me playing. It was other people. It was just a TikTok I found. Them all going, yeah.
I thought I was in there. I apologize.
No. Yeah. But I was playing a video game earlier today. I did about a 2-hour live stream playing this video game from my past that I wanted to see if I still remembered as well as I did. And I'll probably do another live stream sometime later this week playing as well. Yeah. So if watching someone play a video game poorly is up your alley, then stay tuned for that. You can also divide that.
It's kind of like watching a bad horror movie where you're like, don't go upstairs, go to the car.
Mostly where you spend most of the time like yelling at your screen. You idiot! You just missed the secret. The secret's right over the fucking.
It glowed, for God's sakes. It glowed.
Yes. That was actually the thing. I was inspired to play it because I watched a streamer who played it. I think he played it about 2 years ago. It was might have been 3 years because it was still relatively early in the pandemic.
Okay.
And he was playing it, and he's complaining just nonstop about the control scheme. His name's Grovana.
Okay.
He's a fairly big Twitch streamer. But he's just like, God, the control scheme is so bad. It's just like it sucks so much. I like the game, but it sucks so much, this control scheme. And I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, I've played that game like 5 times, 6 times, beginning to end. And I never had that big of a problem with the control scheme. But I'm like, well, maybe I'm just like rose-colored glasses remembering this. Maybe the control scheme is really bad.
And was it in fact really bad?
So far, I haven't had the problems he's been having, so I don't know. I don't know what to tell him, man. It's been working fine for me. Anyways, we're going to talk this week in professional wrestling. Not a huge news week for professional wrestling. A few little major things. We did talk a little bit about one of them on our Tuesday night stream, and that specifically was Lita coming back.
Okay.
So we talked about that. Chelsea Green losing again. This time to Asuka. At least it was a little bit longer of a match, but AEW, however, had some fun, and SmackDown had some fun. So we're going to focus mostly on SmackDown, AEW, Dynamite, and Rampage, because we already kind of talked about Raw. One of the biggest things on SmackDown was they continued the Sammy storyline even more. They added a nice little twist where the Usos had to defend their tag belts. Jimmy Uso showed up and was in the ring. Looked like he's going to defend them all by himself because he hasn't talked to his brother in 2 weeks. And then Jay Uso comes down through the crowd, helps his brother defend the belt, and then leaves. And then later in the night, Jay is walking out by himself, and Sami Zayn runs into him and delivers probably the best moment of the night in my book. This whole speech about, listen, I know what you did couldn't have been easy, and all this stuff, but I just want you to know, I acknowledge you.
Ooh.
And so come on, if you need me, and holds his hand out for the fist bump. And Jay thought about it, and then fist bumped him back before leaving. Then later, Paul Heyman confronted Jimmy Uso and said, I've spoken with Roman Reigns, and I want you to stay home next week to watch SmackDown from your TVs. Because sometimes you catch things on TV that you don't see live in the arena. Implying that Roman Reigns was aware of all of the stuff that went on with Jimmy and Jay and Sammy. It also very casually gives them a way to explain why the Usos aren't at Elimination Chamber. Because they've been sent home. Because we are on the way to Elimination Chamber.
We're definitely the road. Shall we call it the road?
Right? In fact, this week is the go-home show of Raw and SmackDown.
Does that seem like that's a little close together there? I mean, considering that WrestleMania isn't for 6 weeks.
Yeah, it is a little bit weird that,
I don't know. I just think it's a little too close. Like, I don't have a problem with it. And I understand not wanting to go up against certain things at certain weeks or anything like that. Mm-hmm. It's certainly not enough time to add extras at another pay-per-view, But,
yeah.
I don't know. It just seems a little...
Yeah, it's just weird that, you've got... basically no pay-per-view in March at all. Yes, there's an NXT pay-per-view. Premium live event. If you want to use it. But it actually technically isn't in March either. It's the weekend of WrestleMania. So there's actually nothing
in March.
No WWE streaming event in March at all.
wonder if they were struggling to sell March. But here's the deal, like, that didn't work either.
Yeah. I mean, in the end, they've got to walk a balancing act that we don't get to see, and that is booking the arenas and what arenas are available when. And it could have been just that they were having a hard time finding a major city arena that was available in one of those 4 weeks in March. Due to whatever.
So you're saying the Pinnacle Bank Arena in Lincoln, Nebraska isn't big enough?
Not for WWE's premium live streaming event. Not in their minds.
I don't believe you.
I think it 100% could host Great Balls of Fire.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But they...
Not a WrestleMania. Or even a Royal Rumble or Hell Elimination Chamber.
They, because of their push to try to make more and more of them arena events, meaning outdoor arenas, that rules Nebraska out for March just in general.
Yes.
Because we don't have an outdoor arena that we could guarantee from even just a weather standpoint would be usable in March.
Or a stadium style with a dome.
You know, if they wanted to come here in late spring or early fall and do an arena show, we've got Memorial Stadium, you know, that would be a huge arena show. But
Absolutely.
But they can't come here in the middle of July or August. It's too fucking hot here for an arena show.
I mean, they can. It's just not going to be well served.
So, anyways, other things that happened on SmackDown, we had Drew McIntyre and Sheamus defeating Hit Row. They have casually dropped the nickname Banger Brothers after they realized how much WWE fans associated that with the adult videos of a similar name.
What's this place? I've never heard of this.
I had to look it up too. Apparently it's like something bang.
Like
Bang
they
Brothers.
really like sausages.
Yeah, they had a bus.
Bangers and mash.
I think they would maybe it was an Uber service. I don't know. I haven't watched anything about their show at all.
Whatever.
Lacey Evans defeated somebody using the Cobra Clutch again. I'm actually surprised that we haven't seen Sergeant Slaughter come out with her now, because she's using his finisher. They had Shayna Baszler come out to talk smack to Natalya and hinted that maybe we're going to get Shayna Baszler versus Ronda Rousey at some point. But in the end, Ronda Rousey came out and they teamed up to beat up Natalya.
I think that's for elimination. I think they're both going to be in elimination chamber.
Yeah. I was torn by this segment because, like, sure, I want to see Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler, especially if they give Shayna Baszler a big win. But I also really enjoy Natalya getting beaten up because I don't like her.
So the struggle inside was real for you.
Yeah. LA Knight wouldn't talk about the Pitch Black match in an interview. Yeah. Yeah. Jeez. I'm still healing from this stupid sinus infection. I've got this constant tickle in the back of my throat. So sometimes I try to say something and it's like, nope, now you got a cough. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez defeated Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green. So another loss for Chelsea Green.
I don't know where they're going with the Chelsea Green stuff.
Well, I mean, they're having this whole let me speak to your manager.
Who just unloaded in the indies, and tell her, hey, when you come in, we're just gonna have you lose a lot.
Yeah. And then Riddick Moss defeated Mysterio, Karrion Kross, and Escobar to challenge Gunther for the IC belt this week. I don't hate Riddick Moss. I don't. Madcap Moss. He's got a good look. I don't like his character. His character is blah.
It was blah before though too.
Yeah, it's always been blah. That's the problem. Is he's all look and no substance there. But I'd be much more excited to see Karrion Kross versus Gunther, or Santos Escobar versus Gunther. You know? Like, this doesn't get me hyped. I mean, I guess I'm hyped to watch Gunther beat the piss out of someone, because no way does Madcap Moss have a shot next week. Yeah.
I just feel like you could have a better challenger than Madcap.
You sure could.
There are lots of better challengers.
I do have cards to open tonight, just so you know. So I'm going to open a pack before we move on to talk about Dynamite.
Dynamite!
All in all, looks like it's going to be a pretty decent pack. So we'll start off with a Chronicles card, a standard card of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
What?
A standard Chronicles of Mammy Rhea Ripley. A Gold Chronicles card of the Honky Tonk Man. I think this might actually be my first duplicate, but it's a really nice hollow duplicate of Gunther.
Very cool.
What do they call these? Absolute memorabilia, which does not have any memorabilia on them, but Solo Sikoa. A season ticket card of Charlotte Flair. And a scorecard of Odyssey Jones.
Man, he was unimpressive to watch the other night. Holy cow.
Yeah, he doesn't do much for me, but that's not any surprise.
You're not a fan of chunky guys.
Listen, I grew up with the best of them, right? Bam Bam Bigelow and Vader. And all of these guys just come off as pale imitations to me.
But Odyssey Jones comes off as a pale imitation.
Yes, pale, not as skin tone.
Oh, okay.
Because even Bronson Reed, skin tone wise, is darker than Big Van Vader, at least. Probably darker than Bam Bam, too. Bam Bam's a little tough because he was covered in a lot of tattoos, even on his head, so it's hard to tell. No, I love Keith Lee. You know?
It's true.
Anyways. So, AEW Dynamite started off with MJF versus Konosuke Takeshita in what was a surprisingly technical match. It ended with MJF tapping out Konosuke. Using, of course, cheap heel work and all of that stuff, but it ended up with that. But a very good match. I love Takeshita. He's one of my favorites.
Was that interview this week for him? MJF's?
The car one?
Yeah.
Yes, that was later in the night. He gave that. think it was in the night. Yeah. You had Jamie Hayter versus the Bunny. This match ended, I believe, prematurely. I think the Bunny got injured. We haven't got confirmation, but it looks like she may have got a nasty concussion in it. And Jamie Hayter, I know Jamie Hayter would have been scheduled to win one way or another, but it ended really, really fast because of it. So, and then post match, they had Renee Paquette interviewing Saraya and Tony Storm, and then like Leva Bates just was like walking by, and they just attack her and spray paint an L on her. So obviously that's their gimmick now. But
like good heel work though. I like some good heel work.
You had the Garcia Guevara Gauntlet. Ricky Starks starting off first against Cool Hand Angelo Parker and Daddy Magic Matt Menard. And he defeated Angelo Parker quickly with a roll up, and then defeated Daddy Magic Matt Menard. And then Daniel Garcia started walking out, and then Sammy Guevara's music hit. We didn't know who was going to be the next one, but it ended up being Daniel Garcia. And Starks was able to get the victory. No, Starks wasn't able. Excuse me. Starks wasn't able to get the victory because a mysterious guy in the crowd hit him. And it turned out it was a guy in the crowd wearing a mask, and it was Jericho in disguise to get the victory there. So Starks doesn't get his title shot or his shot against Jericho now because of that. He didn't survive that. Then we had probably match of the week for me. Roosh versus Bryan Danielson.
Great match.
This was a phenomenal match. And I mean, there was no complaints about this match anywhere, shape, or form. And it was after this, MJF gave a beatdown, and then later MJF gave his interview where he talked about the car accident. Before that, though, there was the Elite versus Fox Flight, which is Top Flight and AR Fox, which was also a really good match. AR Fox is great, so I was happy to see him getting some time here. But it ended with the Elite retaining the Trios Championships. Then we had the MJF MJF interview, where he talked about, and he told this whole story about he was on a date with a girl named Liv, heavily implied to be Liv Morgan because they were friends growing up. And he got into a car accident, and he woke up. He had blood rushing down his face. He's in the car, and he looks over, and Liv had hit her head against the windshield and was bleeding, was unconscious, and he reached over and he dragged her and put her in the front seat so that he didn't get a ticket for being the one driving at the time of the accident, because he'll do anything to get ahead. And reports have it that the Nassau Police Department received over 300 calls from concerned citizens wanting them to look into this accident from 15 years ago or however long ago it was, because he just confessed on national TV, which is, that's what I loved. I mean, it's like when the NWO first invaded Nitro, when they were at Universal Studios, and they lawn darted Rey Mysterio into the production truck, and the police were called so much because of that. Or when Vince McMahon's limo blew up, and
There's been an explosion.
And Donald Trump actually called him afterwards to make sure he was okay. That's when wrestling is at its peak.
Yes, absolutely.
And then the final match of Dynamite was the AEW World Tag Team Championship match featuring the, at the time, tag team champions, the Acclaimed, versus the Guns. Colton and Austin Gunn.
The Ass Boys.
The Ass Boys, yes.
Yeah.
And in what actually surprised me, the Ass Boys got the victory and are the new tag team champions of the world.
Is that a thumbs up to their heel work?
I mean, their heel work is phenomenal. I'll agree there. It just surprised me that he'd pull the trigger on them right now, but
that's what you want from your wrestling.
They did reportedly, since this had happened, it came out that they reportedly signed a new contract with AEW, a multi-year contract. So this was, in a way, their reward. It's like a reward. But then we'll move on to Rampage after I hear you opening a pack, so...
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of the AEW stuff. I'll open a hanger pack.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I already have a unique card. Oh, this was an anti-theft card in the middle of the pack. Ooh.
That's unique. Maybe it's worth extra. It's not.
No, it's not. All right, so since we just talked about him and his exceptional heel work, he's better than you. And you know it. Someone else with...
Okay, I didn't hear who that one was. You broke up when you said that one. You must be having a little bit of Elon weather going on out there.
Can you see it now?
Cannot quite, but...
Ty Conti.
Ty Conti, okay.
Just lost. The Acclaimed. There we go. Yeah, you have no audio from me, huh?
You cut in and out right now, so...
Oh, sorry. You want to read the names when you can tell what they are? Kyle O'Reilly?
Kyle O'Reilly, okay. Bryan Danielson, okay. Thunder Rosa.
A little tougher.
Daniel Garcia. I think I have that one, so I recognize it. That is Paul Turner.
Bryce Remsburg.
Bryce Remsburg, yeah.
This one should be pretty easy.
Hook. Send Hook.
Hook. Boy, my internet. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. That looks like Dax Harwood.
Yes. AEW Women's Champion.
Jamie Hayter. With the Rey Mysterio butt.
Yeah. Good point.
Oh, that's Jake Hager. Nyla
Beast.
Rose.
Double A, Arn Anderson.
The Enforcer.
This is war. Oh. Still with AEW?
Wardlow?
No, Angelico.
Yes, and Helico still is. He is part of the Spanish Announce Project. Mostly on AEW Dark.
Riho.
Riho. Stu Grayson, who is not with AEW anymore.
Gold card.
Keith Lee.
There we go.
Jade Cargill.
Butcher and Blade.
Butcher shaved his head, and he looks a lot better with short hair.
Much now. I hate him less because of that. Oh, we got Ortiz pretending to play some football outside the ring. That is still an AEW card, even though it's football. Then the last pictures. Platinum. Max Caster.
Nice one.
And
Ruby Soho.
I feel like bordering on a little bit being Walk with Elias, only they're gonna make her a winner. She really wants to be a loner.
Yeah, maybe. They're playing up the whose side is she on right now.
Yeah. Yeah, which we'll also talk about on this next piece about Rampage.
Yep. I'll go through my pack real quick, because it's an interesting pack. Starts out with the standard Chronicles of John Cena.
John! Sorry.
Also, a standard Chronicles of Nikita Lyon.
She's fizzled out.
She's out with an injury. She tore her ACL, I think. Something like that. Standard Robert Roode. What do they call these ones? Legacy card of Shawn Michaels. I think I've had this one before because it looks like he's got a bunch of little tiny black dicks hanging down.
Yes. Thin, not tiny. They're relatively long.
They're actually long. They're like Slim Jims.
Yeah.
A hollow Charlotte Flair.
I also believe you have that one already.
Possibly do. A Origins Damian Priest.
That one's a new one.
It's a nice looking card. And then, rounding out the pack, an NXT Nikita Lyons card.
There we go.
Always cracks me up when they put two of them in the same pack.
Just remember, as we mentioned, the ones that he has duplicates of. If he confirms it, that's in that stack at 50 subs.
Yep. Gotta get those subs up. Then we draw a winner.
Subs.
Okay. AEW Rampage kicked off with excuse me. Let me make sure that is not the right AEW Rampage one. I love it when I click on the link that it says from 2 days ago to bring it up, and then I go to it.
And December
And
22nd.
it's like, yeah, December 2010. I'm like, wait, what? Okay, come on. There we go. So it started off Blackpool Combat Club versus Kip Sabian and Butcher and Blade. Like I said, Butcher now has a shaved head and does not look half as silly as he used to. He still does that weird little goose walk around the ring, and but he looks a little bit more badass. Blackpool Combat Club, of course, got their win because they're the BCC. But Kip Sabian, this whole storyline is still about setting Kip Sabian up as kind of this agent of chaos sort of a thing, causing mischief all around.
Well, it felt that way in his interview later on.
So we had Ruby Soho versus Marina Shafir. That started off with a bunch of like attempt at chain wrestling before the MMA artist Marina Shafir was able to start to get some strikes in and stuff. But in the end, Ruby Soho was able to get the comeback and the win. And then, of course, setting up the storyline still of whose side is she going to be on. Because afterwards, there was more chaos with I don't know what they call them. No, Big JC just up for 6 months. I don't know what they call the Saraya group, Saraya and Tony Storm. But like Ruby Soho just standing there like, whose side am I supposed to be on? You know. Probably about the only thing I will point out was a little frustrating. This happened this week. I think twice. The camera cut to a wrestler while they were blading.
Gotta be careful with that.
And that's something that AEW's production needs to improve. Oh, it looks like we did also get a hydrate, so.
Okay, hold on. I appreciate that. I needed it.
Okay. Let's see. We also Jungle Boy versus Ryan Nemeth, which was an absolute squash.
I don't know. Nemeth had a little bit of offense there, but it was short.
Yeah, it was less than 2 minutes long.
Like I said, it looked like a little bit of offense there.
But then afterwards, Brian Cage came out and indicated that he has unfinished business with Jungle Boy.
You ever notice they never come out and they're like, I have unfinished business with
Ryan Nemeth. Orange Cassidy versus Lee Moriarty was really kind of a fun one because it showed Lee Moriarty working really heavily on Orange Cassidy's arm to try to take the orange punch away from him. And it did. It was really nice to see Orange Cassidy have to do some mat work, you know. Danhausen and Stokely Hathaway were at ringside. For some reason or other, they never really explained Stokely Hathaway had a cast on one of his arms.
It's because, like 4 years ago in a match, Orange Cassidy broke his arm.
Was that it? I don't know.
Yes. But now he has a broken arm because, again, he injures it during this match.
But he's got the cast on it. And Danhausen goes to curse him and then do the dick punch. And he puts the cast down in front of it. And blocks the punch with the cast, and then
It also
Danhausen's
hurts
hand
his
is off.
hand, and it also hurts his hand via the cast.
But, and then afterwards, the best friends came out to rescue when the rest of the crew for Stokely Hathaway, the firm, came out.
And then the Acclaim came out.
Sorry, you broke out. What was that?
And then the Acclaim came out as well.
Yep.
Everybody's favorite.
Because everybody loves the Acclaimed. But so, and that was the end of Rampage. Fun week for AEW. Fun week for WWE is for most part, but it still confuses me that they treat my girl Chelsea like that.
I would wholeheartedly agree with that. It doesn't make sense.
Makes no sense. I mean, they're doing this gimmick where she keeps wanting to talk to the manager. So
You think it's to potentially bring Matt in?
no. He has said in no uncertain terms that he lost.
He has several agreements already.
He has several agreements, as well as his own toy company, by the way. That would have to go away for him to come back to full time. He did try to get the Zack Ryder trademark, but WWE fought him on it, and he knows that he couldn't beat them in a court case, so he's like, whatever, I'll give up on that. He just wanted it because he'd love to do Matt Cardona destroys Zack Snyder cinematic match.
Zack Snyder. I mean, I'd be down for Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder, yeah. Zack Ryder is what I meant to say. But he, in more or less no uncertain terms, says, as of right now, I have no intention of going back to WWE. I'm not ruling it out entirely in the future, but it is not in the immediate future.
I would venture his personal endeavors have made it so that it is financially beneficial.
Like I said, I mean, he just wrestled for the NWA World title this week. Lost to Tyrus. Although now we know why. Because they weren't going to take the title off Tyrus right before he appeared in a Super Bowl commercial with the title.
Yes.
But he, like I said, he's got his toy company. He's got his Major Wrestling Figures podcast. He's got booked up for, well, sort of booked up for the year. Funny side note. He lost his calendar that he has all his bookings on. He tweeted about it. He said, I lost my bookings calendar. Yes, a physical calendar that I write all my bookings on. I have lost it. So if you have booked me for the next couple months, please get in contact with me so I can
That's funny.
Do my calendar. But yeah, he's booked pretty solid all around. So for him to come back to WWE as anything more than a one-off
It's unlikely.
is very unlikely. Next pack. Starting off. Standard Chronicles of Asuka.
Nobody's ready for
Standard Chronicles of the Total Package. Lex Luger. A really sweet chromium card, Spectrum card, of Randall Orton.
Randall Keith.
A really, really sweet looking Elite Series rookie card of Ulysses Leon. That card is way cooler than that wrestler deserves. A playoff card, playoffs, of Kofi Kingston in the middle of a boom drop.
I'm struggling with the concept of the playoff card.
I don't get them either. I don't. A Luminance card of who the fuck is this Brooks Jensen. And then finally, a Legacy card of The Undertaker.
Oh, my Undertaker.
But yeah, this will probably be a relatively short podcast all in all because A, with the superb owl and the illness, I would like to get to bed. But I will still open the rest of these packs. Got a standard Big Boss Man. Love to see that. A standard Chronicles Undertaker. A standard Chronicles Elektra Lopez. Looks like she stole Undertaker's hat there. A Gold Chronicles Marseille.
Stupid gimmick. Sorry.
I actually get a kick out of it, but you know. A what do they call these? XR of Mommy Rhea Ripley. A Rookie Stars of Brutus Creed, the other Creed brother. I think I've got the Rookie Stars of Julius Creed, so that pairs that up. And a Prestige of who the fuck is Rufeng? That's Rufeng.
That's Rufeng, right there.
Right there. But I wish we had more fun stuff to talk about on this podcast this week. Really,
this was a good week of wrestling, but so it wasn't bad. It wasn't great either.
Yeah, it was kind of a week that a lot didn't happen. I know that sounds backwards when I say a lot didn't happen, but
I think they were building part of the empire in both situations.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing is, it always happens.
Thing is gold, and it's huge gold. Like, it's fantastic. It was such a good promo. People thought that he literally had broken the law.
Mm-hmm. But
I took her lifeless body and moved it to the driver's seat. Holy fuck.
But it's especially for WWE. This happens.
Great.
This happens often in the week before the go home week.
Correct.
This is the chess piece moving week, where it's just finally moving the pieces to where they need to be for the final act of the storyline, and that can sometimes look like a lot of nothing happening. Second to last pack, we got a standard Chronicles Ken Shamrock.
Ooh.
A standard Chronicles Gigi Dolan.
Hashtag Marby. Sorry, what?
I don't know if you need to what that. I mean,
I don't know that I could. I mean, marriage is a lot.
Yeah,
I don't know that, we need a prenup because she's obviously in a better financial situation than I am.
Yeah. I do think that
I also think that I'm not her type considering she's dated Darby Allin.
Yeah. I mean, she's divorced from him, so, but
Maybe she's done with tiny, skinny guys.
yeah, maybe she needs a little more beef on her bones. Anyways, I don't know what they call this series, Luminance series of Alba Fire.
Ooh.
Although I feel like I might have already had one of those. I'll have to check. A Elite Series Axiom.
Meh.
A rated rookie Braun Breaker. A season ticket Becky Lynch, which I may already have as well. So if I do, this goes on to
The
the duplicates pile. And finally, a score EO Sky.
Very, very cool.
And then for the last pack out of that, ooh, this one looks like it might, as a whole, be a really good pack. There's a couple who the fucks, though. But as a whole, because in the year of our Lord 2023, I pulled a Don Morocco card.
Whoa.
Like, who would have thought WWE would be even making Don Morocco cards in 2023? I got an Akira Tazawa card, Standard Chronicles. I have a Standard Chronicles Ravishing Rick Rude. Also, who would have thought in the year of our Lord 2023 I'd get a Rick Rude card? What do they call this one? I guess it's just their Chromium. Aaliyah. Which, where the fuck has she gone to? A Black Series. AJ Styles. And a Origins. Who the fuck is Nathan Fraser? That's Nathan Fraser. Right there.
Right there.
But then finally, the absolute memorabilia, which again contains no memorabilia, but are still really cool, of Bret the Hitman Hart. I also want to point out that I think we can both recognize the tights used on the person in the middle of the sharpshooter there.
I should say that cards like that are the reason these cards needed the agreement with ROH. We need the AJ Styles AEW card. Not AEW, but ROH.
Mm-hmm.
The pullover cards.
There's a history that you can't get in the AEW cards. I agree.
And
that
so
you could only get if they had Ring of Honor.
They need to do some combo sets, like in window hangers or in the box sets, either one, the box sets or the window or the hanger backs. But they need to have special ROH Legends cards.
Yeah. Well, it all depends. If Tony Khan is truly trying to eventually set up Ring of Honor as a totally separate company, then I understand him not putting them anywhere in the deck. But it means that he really needs to work on getting a Ring of Honor set.
Correct. Correct.
Also, there may be something to be said with these classic ones. That may be something that AEW can't quite do. Is AJ Styles, even if they have the rights to footage of him, they might not have the rights for merchandise with his likeness. Because he's currently with WWE. And he has an exclusive likeness, deal with WWE.
I think once you're using a picture...
You can hold the copyright to a picture or the trademark to the picture, but still not have the rights to reproduce it because of who's in it. It's likeness rights is what it comes down to. It's why news organizations will often have an entire person whose job is to go out and get people to sign release forms because they walked through the back shot of a news recording, right? Because to reproduce them on screen, they have to have likeness rights. It's why, excuse me, when I, in a previous life, was a professional photographer, I actually had to have model contracts for anyone that I used in any sort of advertising. Because even though I took their photo and owned the trademark to the photo, for me to reproduce it in a public setting, I had to have their explicit written permission to do so.
That makes sense.
And part of AJ Styles' contract with WWE might be that,
You turn down any likeness agreements.
yeah, that we have the exclusive. In fact, I know it is the standard thing for them to have the exclusive right to merchandise for that character, for that wrestler, during the course of their contract and 6 months after their contract is terminated. That 6 months is there theoretically to allow WWE to offload any unsold merchandise after terminating a contract. But so when it comes to like the cards, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it's why AJ Styles doesn't have a Pro Wrestling Tees store. All of his merchandise goes through WWE, right? But like, you come to Pro Wrestling Tees, and I'm scrolling through just the all wrestlers stores thing, and I don't see anyone here who's on a current active WWE contract, right? Trying to even see if I can find one that's got a featured wrestlers. Okay, Bret the Hitman Hart is on a Legends deal, so he can have his own store. Andre the Giant, of course, has his Legends status, but is not alive, so it's his estate that controls their rights. Randy Savage, Owen Hart, those are all estates dealing with them. Sue has her own store. Adam Scherr still has a Pro Wrestling Tees store. But it could be that he just hasn't gotten around to closing it. Because it's still listed as former WWE star. And it's all under the name Titan and CYN. So that's probably just a case of I haven't closed my store yet.
Or he said, I want to keep that in his contract negotiations.
Amy Dumas, formerly Lita, has a store. Only reason I include her is she, as of this week, is a currently wrestling WWE superstar. Whether she continues to be next week, I don't know. For some reason or other, Anthony Bowens has 2 stores. I don't know why.
Because reasons, man.
Let me pull them both open and see. Okay. Five-tool Pride Tee, 5-tool Player Tee. Anthony Bowens, critically acclaimed, are on one. And Anthony Bowen's critically acclaimed is on the other. Okay. They're basically the same. Barry Horowitz has his own PWT store.
Patting his own back. That's where I was going. Longest losing streak in wrestling.
B. Priestley has a pro wrestling tee store. As B. Priestley. And none of the stuff has been updated recently. So, Stardom wrestler, AEW wrestler, Top Gaijin, Twitter at B. Priestley, which it's not anymore. Insta B. Priestley, pro wrestler, also not that anymore. Booker T has a pro wrestling D store. He's a retired wrestler though, so no, none of those. Never active, not active, not active. Chelsea Green still has an active PWT store. It's all her pre-redebuting stuff, though, of course.
Yeah, she won't have anything that's WWE gimmick on there.
No. But so obviously they don't have them a clause that makes them close their pro wrestling tees store immediately. But they're not allowed to put any new stuff on their pro wrestling tees store. I'm just trying to see if I can find one person, one example of someone who's continuing to make money outside WWE while on the active roster. Did you see EC3 announce that he's officially signed with NWA?
Ooh.
Yep.
I don't know that I care that much anymore.
He's bringing Control Your Narrative to NWA.
Again, I don't know that, and that's why I don't know that I care that much.
It just means that he's had a hard time controlling his narrative. That he needs a little bit of help controlling it, maybe a little bit of money,
monetary assistance. I don't think that went quite the way he wanted it to.
Well, no, of course it didn't. When, as soon as he got things rolling with it in any way, shape, or form, some of his biggest names, specifically his biggest name, got a job offer back with WWE and deuced out, right? The Titan of CYN said, I don't want to control my narrative. I'm fine with someone else controlling it as long as they give me lots of money.
Yeah, people have a tendency to feel that way.
Johnny Gargano still has his pro wrestling tees store open. It does not appear that he's updated it recently. Because like one of his most recent ones is still referencing Spider-Man No Way Home, which is like a 2-year-old movie. But it's still technically open, so. Oh, that was some of the news in professional wrestling this week. Jay White lost his loser leaves Japan match to to Hikuleo. So Jay White is finished in Japan. Now I'm specifically wording it that way because while some people could read it to mean that he has to leave New Japan Wrestling, and reports have it his contract is close to up with New Japan Wrestling. They specifically worded the match as loser has to leave Japan, not leave New Japan Pro Wrestling. So it easily could be him coming over to work the New Japan America shows that they're trying to launch the New Japan America Dojo to relevancy. So
JY would be good for that.
now that could be what's happening. It also could be that his contract's ending. He's going to come over here to the States and he's going to try to sign with either WWE or AEW. I think the chances of him signing with Impact are extremely low. NWA are almost non-existent. The only one I see him potentially signing with is either WWE or AEW if he signs. And I do think if he signs with anyone other than New Japan, I think AEW is probably top of the list. But if WWE came with enough zeros on their check, can't blame him. Petey Williams, WWE producer, backstage. Petey Williams has his own PWT store. That might be the first exception to the rule.
Yeah.
But he's not an on-screen wrestler, so... See if RJ City has updated his merch anytime. You could get a Hey EW mug. Or shirt.
Hey, ew.
Hey, ew. Anyways. But because of how I'm still feeling like shit, and it was Super Bowl Sunday, and all that stuff, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up here for this podcast. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Click that subscribe button on any of the places, or follow button on Twitch. If you want to, you can subscribe to us on Twitch. It's a great way to support us on Twitch for a very, very, very low price. Free if you're an Amazon Prime member and you have access to your Amazon Prime free subscription.
What?
Yeah. Scarlet Bordeaux still has a Pro Wrestling Tees store. It's all going back to her Impact times, but, Anyways. We do have merch stores of our own, not on Pro Wrestling Tees, but on Stream Elements or on Spreadshop. So links are in the doobly-doos for those. Head on over and check out some of our merch there. That's a great way to support us. You can also support us. There's a way you can send us a tip if, and a tip not as in money, but as in a tip.
Penis.
A actual payment. A physical monetary donation. You can send us bits over Twitch if you're watching us on Twitch. That's a great way to do it as well. But for tips, it's really simple. All you have to do is go to our About panel and send us a tip. That's it.
Just one tip.
Yep.
Or two.
Just one. Yeah, one or two. That's fine. Whatever. Great way to get us some money, some support that way. You can follow me on all of the social medias at Raw and Order WBU, except on Facebook where it's at Pissant Podcast Reasons. You can follow DA Fabe at
DA Vincent K. Fabe.
Hey. Some cheers. Yay, cheers.
Cheers to you too.
Cheers to the freaking weekend. Yeah.
It's freaking weekend.
But yeah. So you can support us in lots of ways there, and you can follow us on all the social medias. But on that note, we're going to go ahead and close the book on the Wrestling Booking Unit. Thank you all for joining us. We will see you soon.
Bye-bye.